Preservation and Development of the Japanese Dog by Shiro Itagaki, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. The Mikanzukan, Illustrated Book of Famous Dogs, published around 1897, shows many pictures of Japanese dogs with exemplary body shapes. Also, recalling the author's childhood, in his hometown in a certain area of Yamagata Prefecture, each family had a large red-coat Japanese dog with ears that stood up. By the early Showa period, however, pure Japanese dogs had almost disappeared from all areas of Japan, except in remote mountainous areas, and the majority of dogs in Japan are Western breeds or their hybrids. In other words, it seemed as if the unique Japanese dog, which had been a friend to our ancestors in their daily lives since prehistoric times and was thought to have passed directly on our national identity, had left the land of Japan and was disappearing forever from the rest of the world. The Japanese dog faced the fate of being buried as a historical creature in the books. Japanese dog lovers gathered there and established Nippo as a group of dog lovers to preserve and develop the dying Japanese dog. At the same time, the Japanese dog was studied from an academic perspective to serve as a reference for archaeology and to aid in the study of animal evolution. To achieve this far-reaching goal, we established a standard for the body shape of the Japanese dog and held an exhibition of Japanese dogs in Tokyo. This experiment suddenly struck a chord with the public, and Japanese dog fever was on the rise throughout the country. Famous dogs kept by hunters and farmers in various mountainous areas that had not been publicized were introduced one after another, and Japanese dogs were produced in various regions. We are very happy that the Japanese dog has become the star of the dog world, and we cannot contain our joy. What was the cause of the demise of the Japanese dog, which had helped in the study of the Japanese people and had been familiar to the people of Japan, in just 30 short years during the Meiji period? The author cites the following reasons: worship of foreign species, unthinking breeding, the prevalence of dogfighting. Let me explain one by one. Worship of foreign species. It can be said that the introduction of Western culture destroyed Japan's unique beauty in all areas without hesitation. In the area of dogs, the people were extremely enthusiastic about foreign breeds and fascinated by their beauty, and they did not care about nationalistic dogs, but regarded Japanese dogs as bad dogs and called them jiinu, stray dogs. Puppies were abandoned in the fields or washed into rivers without regrets, and those who bred Japanese dogs were regarded as outmoded specimens, and the great dog bloodlines were gradually destroyed. By the time the Japanese people began to regret the extinction of the Japanese dog, it was already too late to make up for it. On the other hand, the sins of dog writers were also inexcusable. They translated foreign books without much care, and in fact, without any understanding of dogs. They published rehashed versions of foreign books such as Types of Dogs and How to Breed Dogs. In the article, they did not mention Japanese native dogs at all. In fact, they probably had no knowledge of them at all, and they referred to Pekingese and Tosa fighting dogs as if they were representatives of Japanese dogs. They played on the ludicrousness of unapologetic admiration for a foreign species that they had never seen before. For this reason, people who were interested in dogs became enthusiastic about and studied foreign dogs, and all the materials about the beauty of dogs, interesting legends, and hobbyists were misinterpreted as if foreign breeds had a monopoly on them. The Japanese dog was forgotten, and no one took note of the dog's characteristic fidelity and its tearful heart to protect its master. Unthinking breeding. The improvement of breeds and the fixation of livestock breeds can only be accomplished when it is carried out under a consistent policy based on a consistent concept over a long period of time. The improvement of horses and cattle in the developed countries or the fixation of new breeds in the dog world has been the result of extraordinary efforts and firm determination. Now, until the Meiji Restoration, Japan had very little overseas traffic and few foreign dogs were introduced. So natural interbreeding took place only among Japanese dogs in the vicinity. Therefore, for thousands of years, there was no crossbreeding with foreign dogs, and the situation could be considered pure breeding of the Japanese dog. In this way, a fixed breed was born in each region. However, with the frequent crossbreeding with foreign breeds that followed, crossbreeding with introduced foreign breeds spread quickly throughout the country. By the time it caught the attention of experts, mongrel dogs were so rampant that they could no longer be recognized as pure Japanese dogs, except in mountainous areas where transportation was inconvenient, and the so-called Japanese dogs had reached the point of extinction. The prevalence of dogfighting. The production of improved fighting dogs, which became popular in many regions at that time, also contributed to the destruction of the Japanese dog. At the time, many people considered the Tosa fighting dog, generally called Tosa Inu, but I think the name Tosa fighting dog is appropriate to distinguish it from the Tosa Japanese dogs that remain in the mountains of the same region, to be a pure Japanese dog, and it is not surprising that the breeding of Tosa fighting dogs was mistaken for the preservation of pure Japanese dogs and that the pure breeding of Japanese dogs began to be disrupted. Patience and agility are necessary for a fighting dog, but greatness of physique and fullness of strength must also be taken into account. Anyway, the purpose of creating fighting dogs is not necessarily the same as that of Japanese dogs, since the ideal of a fighting dog is a heroic fighter. As a means of doing so, they crossbred the blood of mastiffs, bulldogs, Great Danes, etc., and it is no wonder that they have come a long way from Japanese dogs. In other words, from the improvement of fighting dogs, a type of professional dog that had not been seen in Japan until now appeared. Since they did not set a standard for body shape, the result was a lot of dogs that were just strong and, in a sense, crippled. This may have caused a great deal of upset among large and medium-sized Japanese dogs. Motivation for founding Nippo. The above is the situation of the Japanese dog world at the end of the Meiji era, Taisho era, and the beginning of the Showa era. The author and others have made a great decision to advocate the preservation of the Japanese dog, and as mentioned at the beginning of this article, we have gathered our comrades to establish Nippo. Furthermore, it was in the early Showa period that a plan was hatched to achieve further improvement and progress of the Japanese dog in the future. The preservation of the Japanese dog thus bore fruit, and the crisis of the Japanese dog's extinction was over. But the next important issue was the establishment of a standard body shape for the Japanese dog. Ideally, any breed association should establish a certain standard that is ideal, and breeders should always improve toward that standard. When Nippo was first established, a major problem was how to determine this standard. It is clear that if mistakes are made in the establishment of standards, the future of the Japanese dog world will be plunged into a whirlpool of chaos. When establishing standards for Japanese dogs, it is important to classify them correctly. This difficult problem can only be solved after studying the distribution of Japanese dogs in various regions and researching as many as possible. In addition, it is impossible to classify true Japanese dogs without researching even the following regional souvenir dogs: Honshu, Japan; Karafuto, Kuril Islands, Taiwan; Ryukyu Islands, Korea; Kamchatka, Siberia; Manchuria and Mongolia; mainland China; South Asian countries, Philippines, etc. The manpower and expenses required for this are enormous. Fortunately, we were able to consult a wealth of materials gathered by dedicated researchers, including photographs obtained by searching for remaining Japanese dogs in mountainous areas around the country, as well as through the use of contacts. In doing so, we reached the conclusion that it would be ideal to divide the entire Japanese dog population into 3 types: large, medium, and small. Nippo has adopted this taxonomy and established standard body types for each. Is this really the correct classification method? Even if an appropriate classification method is used, there is no clear distinction between large and medium size, or medium and small, and even within the same medium size, there are some large types and some small types, making it difficult to decide which type to classify. The classification system was based not only on body height, but also on appearance, fearlessness, natural disposition, and other factors. Fortunately, it has been approved by the general dog lovers, and I do not think it will be changed now or in the future. Personal opinion of Japanese dog type 3. I would like to give my personal opinion on the above 3 types and discuss a little about the future of the Japanese dog. Small dogs are distributed in the following areas: Gifu, Nagano, Toyama, Yamanashi, Fukuoka, Gunma, Saitama, Niigata, Fukushima, Chugoku region, Sanyo Sanin border, Shikoku region, etc. Generally, this dog is called Shiba Inu. The name Shiba Inu gives me an indescribable feeling of familiarity, and I would like to keep it forever. Depending on the place of origin, they are also named Shinshu Shiba, Ichigo Shiba, Mino Shiba, Sekishu Shiba, and so on. The coat color is a motley collection, with the majority being reddish-brown, but there are also all red, brindle, Kai brindle, and others. Anyway, the distribution of small dogs is the widest, and most of the dog bones excavated from ancient burial mounds and shell mounds seem to be those of this small dog. They may have been kept because they were convenient for keeping and working dogs, or they may have been the only type of dog found in Japan in ancient times. In other words, it is probably fair to say that small-sized dogs are the most suitable for Japanese dogs' tastes. Medium-sized dogs are also called boar dogs, shishiinu, or deer dogs, shikainu, in some regions, so named because they were mainly used for hunting boars and deer. Medium-sized dogs remained in the following areas: Kyushu, Hida, deep in the Tohoku region, Chichibu, Shikoku region, etc. The fierce dogs used by the Ainu tribe for bear hunting are also said to belong to this type. The coat colors vary and include white, black, sesame, and red. The white coat of the Kishu dog was particularly common. It was a time in the past when the author traveled to Shingu City, Wakayama Prefecture, to judge a Japanese dog exhibition. The sight of a white boar dog being pulled by a hunter along the middle reaches of the Kumano River between steep ridges, clearly reflected in the evening mist, is still an unforgettable impression. The exemplary large dog is Otot of Akita. Hachiko is famous for his heroic figure, which remains as a bronze statue in the plaza in front of the Shibuya station in Tokyo, and his remains are preserved in the Science Museum. Their coat colors include red, sesame, black, and white. When I was a child, most of the large dogs I saw in my hometown had red coats, which left a particularly strong impression on me. Large dogs are kept for guarding and ornamental purposes rather than for hunting. In any case, the Japanese dog is a breed that has yet to be completely polished, but its rough edges have an indescribable charm, and it is the owner of an intellect that is difficult to discard. I believe that the true value of the dog lies in guiding it to fully demonstrate its intelligence not only as a hunting dog, but also as a family dog, and in appreciating its unique and fearless appearance, which should be a source of pride. Japanese dog breeders unanimously say that the Japanese dog's sense of smell, hearing, and sight are not inferior to those of other breeds. The Kishu dog's sense of smell is particularly acute, as it is said to be able to follow the tracks of its prey and track down a savage boar, while its sense of hearing is also very keen, type preferred by the world's people. Today, more than 20 years after the establishment of the Japan Society for the Preservation of Japanese Dogs, it is worthwhile to examine and criticize which body type of Japanese dogs have been favored and loved by the public. At the time of the establishment of the society, the majority of Japanese dogs exhibited at exhibitions were medium-sized dogs, and they were of excellent quality, showing a scene that could be called the heyday of medium-sized dogs. Therefore, judging was divided into adult and juvenile dogs, as well as bitches and males, and most of the prizes, such as the Minister of Education Award and the Nippo Award, were won by medium-sized dogs each time. There were also quite a few small dogs exhibited, and I felt as if I was getting a glimpse of the distribution of ancient Japanese dogs. In recent years, I have been away from the dog world due to health problems, but I was surprised to see a couple of times at the exhibition, there were far more large dogs exhibited, and therefore, almost all of the overall entries were large dogs, and the Minister's Prize and the Nippo Award were all reserved for large dogs. There is no sign of medium-sized dogs, and the golden age of medium-sized dogs in the past has changed into an unpredictable situation. What does this drastic change mean? Conclusion. Large dogs have not been used for hunting for a long time, and their large size makes them easily fatigued when put into strenuous work, and they are not patient, so they must have a special mission as an ornamental dog. It is surprising that they lack the fearlessness and spirit characteristic of Japanese dogs, especially in contrast to obese dogs that are well nourished and fatty. I am also disgusted by the artificiality of Japanese dogs. In other words, I believe that breeders have become too ornamentalistic and are moving away from the natural beauty of the Japanese dog. This phenomenon is merely one of the scenes that appeared at the exhibition. In the breeding areas, medium-sized and small game are used for actual hunting and are recognized for their excellent abilities, so they may be abundant in numbers as well. In fact, I hope so. The purely Japanese dog, which has been indigenous to Japan since ancient times, was dying out with the introduction of European culture with the sudden arrival of Perry 100 years ago. It is indeed a joy to see that Nippo was founded at this critical juncture and has flourished once again thanks to its efforts. However, we hope that breeders of Japanese dogs will not unnecessarily increase the number of dogs, but will carefully select breeds and strive to produce truly purebred excellent dogs, and hope to produce medium-sized and small dogs that are the original Japanese dogs. This in no way denigrates the production of large breed dogs. We believe that our relationship with customers begins after they bring a puppy home. Our motto is our foundation is family. We strive to be like family to our customers for a lifetime. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us at the email address.